If you look out there, there's an incredible amount of bird action going on, which means there's fish feeding just under the surface and they're picking up the pieces. There's probably sharks there as well. If we look back this way, we see a man paddling his stand-up paddleboard and a person exercising on his surf ski as a wave comes through here at Terrigal Point on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia, on this absolutely beautiful, glorious day. There's no sign of any shark fins, but I could assure you under the surface there would be sharks. That's a back view of Terrigal, the township here on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. One of the meccas of the Central Coast and probably of the world. We hydrofoil here when the wind's up, and I used to surf here as a young surfer many years ago for hours on end. It's a shame when you get to a point in life where you wish things had been different. Where you wish situations and circumstances had it turned out in a more positive way. And that's not to feel sorry for yourself. It's to challenge the way you see things and view things. And there's a good view of all the seabirds resting. It's quite a spectacular place, and I'm blessed to be able to have a 15-20 minute drive just to get here. I did live over on those mountains over there at a place called Foresters Beach. You can see the tower on top of there. I lived there for 3 or 4 years with my family. Human nature changes our perspective, our psyche, the way in which we deal with things, the way in which we don't deal with things, and the way in which we allow life to take us. Some people will come into your life and want to experience you as a partner, and you'll want to experience them as a partner. But time will wash away at what really does matter to them and what really does matter to you, and that will impact upon the relationship that you're trying to have. Now, it can impact positively or it can impact negatively. It all depends on how both of you choose to navigate the situation. Reciprocity, being reciprocal, give, take, care and share from both sides, is not optional. It's something you need to choose to do to get the maximum peace, harmony, satisfaction and serenity that you can out of being together. There's nothing nicer than laying down at night and being able to enjoy the peace and serenity that comes with knowing that the love that you have is working at and for the best possible outcomes for everyone. We can't change somebody else, but we can work on ourselves in a way in which we are growing, developing, and becoming the best possible version of ourselves that we can. It's not healthy to be in denial or underestimate that there possibly are problems that we have. Sometimes we lose relationships just via a lack of compatibility. And when you first meet somebody, working out those compatibilities can take time. We do tend to ignore things that aren't compatible as we try and work out if the person is compatible or not that we have met. And this isn't always favorable, but it's just the way that it is. There is an element of risk and faith when we meet somebody new. Some people don't hurt as much as others when their relationship breaks down. Some people just seem to be able to move on quite easily, unperturbed, and just resigned to the fact that they need to meet somebody new. And that's where we need to be careful about the way we attach and the way we set ourselves up with our own expectations of how we think the relationship is going to work or turn out. And we need to be very, very careful on how we are interpreting the progress of our relationships. Sometimes I wonder if karma has a way of turning up when we least expect it. I don't think any of us are void of karma. This is a part of life that will be ever present with us. And when karma does come to punish us or bless us for our past lives, we have to be able and willing to accept that it's part of our lot. It's part of the way life has worked out for us. Some of you might never have experienced a breakup, a serious breakup, debilitating breakup, and others of you may have and have just gone, oh well, and seem to have managed it all without too much trauma. But for some of us who appear to be strong on the surface but are very empathic underneath, having to force a breakup or being put in a position where you've had no other choice but to deliver a breakup is not what the plan was. It's not what we really wanted to do. I've sat out there for hours, hundreds of hours surfing, just looking back. I'm 57 now. I had one of my first surfs on that beach there at Terrigal. And let me just say to some of you older people, when you start getting up around my age, 57, heading towards 58, going on 60, you do start to get very concerned and very particular about the people that you meet. Like, I would have liked to have thought the last relationship would have worked, but it was the shortest and most tumultuous relationship I've ever had. And there was nothing I could do about that. A lot of it comes down to tolerance. What you're prepared to put up with and what you're not. A lot of it comes down to being able to discern whether you're being treated fairly or not, and whether you're treating the other person fairly or not. We do have to be realistic with ourselves and with the person that is sharing their life with us. But there does come a point where if there is hostility and things that are harming and maiming to your mental health and possibly theirs, and this could be totally irrelevant to you and the person that you're with. The person that you're with might just have to stay with their DNA. Relatives, children, whatever the case might be, for them to maintain peace in their life to the exclusion of you being in it. It's what I've found in my last two relationships, that the children of these people that I was with were just unable to accept their mother having any peace or serenity in their life. They were too selfish to comprehend or understand how that worked. Obviously, they'd never seen that before for their mother. Therefore, when somebody healthy, like myself, who is very interested in looking after their partner, come along, it was all too hard for the family members to accept that this person could be loved and cared for and looked after. And for that person, they can't change their past life. They can't change the children that God's allowed them to bring into the world and raise. They can't change the way they've formed and the relationships that they have, nor should they have to. But at the same token, there needs to be elements of order for the relationship to work. And without order, the relationship will not work. And we all know this and we're all aware of this, and it's easy to say, but when the rubber hits the road, the reality of the fact is, if we do not value the opportunity that we have to build a life and a relationship with somebody where we give, take care and share, and can sleep at night in peace and share some intimacy and trust one another and love one another with all matters resolved and all things in order as far as possible, then I question and wonder what really other things there are to do. Like people say to me, I've had women say to me, are you codependent? I am not codependent. I'm quite happy to spend time with myself. I'm quite happy with myself. I do get disturbed when I do have a relationship, and for some unforeseen reason, no fault of my own, it does get ransacked. That does trouble me, but it's becoming more common than uncommon now. But with that said, I've always been quite content with myself to get on with what the day is going to offer me. Like today, I'm out here enjoying the sun. I've done my exercise this morning. I'll go back and do my afternoon exercise sessions. And I'm trying to help people understand that relationships are not usually, by way of human nature, going to go the way that we would like and the way that we would think and the way that we think they should. There's too many interferences now, too many options now, too many alternatives for people to apply in their relationship, rather than bring resolve and keep things going in a way in which the peace, happiness, give, take, care and share can be sustained. Yes, I can play the game of swap and have the 3 or 4 partners on a rotation and all this rubbish and nonsense, but my values are much different to that. I like to invest myself into the one person and help them to find the peace and happiness that they're looking for. But again, as I've said before, I've seen so many ways life can interfere with that. Just leaves everybody ransacked, sabotaged, and left to rescind back to their default of 0 and go through the process of healing, and then the risk of finding somebody else and starting another relationship that hopefully might work out. But as I said today, the old-fashioned values of give, take, care and share, reciprocity, tolerance, patience, forbearance, and these other things are substituted with alcohol, drugs, medications, recreational drugs, weed, and the resilience and fortitude that's required for a relationship to truly flourish, and the skills and the thoughtfulness and the things that come with that, for the most part, from what I've seen, have slipped out of the fingertips of the masses. My advice to you would be to have hobbies, to be able to exercise, give time to that, give time to meditation and devotion to your God. I'm a Christian, so I worship the Lord Jesus Christ, and God is my Father through him, and his Spirit enables and helps me with my weaknesses. My weaknesses are his strength. And be as honest and as trustworthy and as peaceful as you can. Do not get involved in other people's delusions, perceptions, misconceptions, and interferences that they want to bring on you in your privacy. If you're with somebody that doesn't respect that, then again, you're in a situation that you probably need to get out of. But be fair, be generous, be contrite, be strong, be masculine and feminine, and be intimate where necessary. Be able to resolve, be able to have boundaries, and most of all, be fair. If hostility is getting its way, be it passive aggressively or overtly, remove yourself from that situation, save yourself the trauma, and thank God that you have the wisdom and the individuality and self-awareness and self-confidence to know that life will bring you situations and circumstances that will surpass that, and hopefully by your absence, the people that you tried to love, of which could not navigate the opportunity that you've had in a fruitful way, will learn something again, as I said, from your absence, and realize that there are certain things that can be changed for the better, that'll work out for them better individually and collectively as a family group or whatever the case might be, and that you will be able to all grow even though you've gone your separate ways. Relationships are for us to learn from, to grow from, to put strength into each other from with every opportunity, and in that's where peace, happiness and serenity should develop from. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison at Terrigal on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Relationship awareness and strategies. Bye for now.